everybody. Let's cut to the chase. Who is this human of the future? Who is this human who can survive in the future? What are her values and beliefs? What is her mindset, her worldview? Where does she get her knowledge from? Can we describe her in few words? I believe we can. The human of the future is the citizen of the world prior to any nation, who can detect and understand global changes and challenges, technological and environmental, and who can act and adapt locally. The human of the future faces each and every claim with skepticism and believes nothing whatsoever without empirical scientific evidence. The human of the future knows very well that morality has a secular, rational foundation and not a spiritual, religious, supernatural one. In other words, the human of the future is an adaptive cosmopolitan, scientifically skeptical humanist. But to become this human, to reach this state of mind, we have to wake up first. Humanity has to wake up to the fact that we have to overcome once and for all our most insidious and persistent of challenges, which is to be able to tell the difference between the real natural world that we are all part of as rational cognitive animals trying to make sense of it, and the delusional imaginary world that our minds were always so good at creating and believing. This is what Carl Sagan here and so many other thinkers, philosophers, and intellectuals have been trying to tell us for a very long time. But especially in the last 400 or 500 years, since we broke free, since we escaped from 1,000 years of darkness, or the age of faith, into the age of reason that led to our scientific revolution, our enlightenment, and skeptical movement. The message is very simple and clear, yet more than 95% of the world population ignores it in one way or the other. More than 95%. And the message is this: if we are to survive in the future, we have to change our way of thinking about the world from an irrational, magical, wishful, superstitious, supernatural, mystical, paranormal, pseudo-scientific way of thinking to a rational, scientifically skeptical way. These two ways of thinking have been clashing like titans and shaping every aspect of our humanity since the Axial Age. Now, the Axial Age is a very interesting time in our ancient history between the 8th and the 3rd century BCE, when so many new ways of thinking, so many religions and philosophies started showing up, popping up in so many different places. So we had Confucianism, Taoism, and the 100 schools of thought in China. We had Jainism, Buddhism, Hinduism in India. We had Zoroastrianism, the first monotheistic religion in Persia. Second Temple Judaism in Judea. And luckily for us, the Greek, classical Greek, Roman, classical Greek philosophies and drama in the Greco-Roman world. Let's stop here for a moment and try to understand, try to test our two ways of thinking in trying to explain this very weird phenomena. How come so many religions and philosophies started showing up, started appearing in so many different places in few centuries' time without having a direct cultural connection between them? What was it that led to this Cambrian explosion of ideas? Now, anthropologists, sociologists, historians have been puzzled by this question for a very long time. They couldn't identify the common cause. It's a very complex question. It takes a lot of research, it's time-consuming, lots of resources. You need evidence and facts. Science is hard work. It's a slow process. But don't worry, every time we have a complex question, I've got my magical glasses with me, and by putting them on, I can answer any complex question with an easy answer. And the answer is this: there must have been some kind of a spiritual aura that descended on these civilizations, some kind of a divine intervention, a divine revelation that revealed itself to these prophets and thinkers and made them start generating all of these ideas so they could lead their people towards salvation and redemption. Now, this answer might seem very plausible, to say the least, to so many people. They consider it as a fact. But coming back to the real world, I can give you the real answer, which was recently discovered by an interdisciplinary team of scholars who identified energy capture as the common cause. So we had a surge in our calories consumption in this time, up to 20,000 calories per day per person in food, animal food, raw materials, and fuel, which led to bigger cities, which could afford a priestly and a scholarly class. So we had a shift in our priorities from just surviving to trying and find long-term harmony. Let me take you on a ride in this faith-based world where I can see everything clearly now. I can see how the world was created 6,000 years ago in exactly 6 days. I see humans and dinosaurs living together in perfect harmony. I see people burning in hell and so many beautiful virgins in heaven. A pregnant virgin here on earth. I see angels and demons and witches and ghosts and the Holy Ghost. A man walking on water and rising from the dead. Sir, in the blue shirt, I can see your chakras. I think you need to align one of them because they are blocking your flow of energy. And I can see all of your zodiac signs hovering above your heads. I can hear things too. What goes around comes around. It's all about karma. Everything happens for a reason. It's your destiny. Prayers, telepathy, and extrasensory perception actually work. And your dreams are always full of meanings. The earth is flat. You have an immortal soul. Consciousness exists outside of the brain. Homeopathy, acupuncture, detox juices, urine therapy, sound therapy, magnetic therapy, faith healing, crystal healing, and all the alternative medicines work perfectly well. Just beware of vaccines, because they cause autism. GMOs and stem cell research should be banned. Women are dumb, and their place is in the kitchen. And if they get sexually harassed or raped, it's because they were wearing sexy. Homosexuals need conversion therapy because they are mentally ill. Transgenders should understand that gender is not a choice. Animals don't have feelings and cannot suffer. White people descend from a superior and a supreme Aryan race. The Holocaust, the Holodomor, the Armenian genocide, the Rohingya genocide never happened. Slavery was a choice. Go Kanye. There was never a moon landing. 9/11 was an inside job. Atheism is a religion. Religions are all about peace, love, and morality. Communism works way better than a free market economy. Nationalism and protectionism are our only hope. Globalism is a very dangerous ideology. Postmodernist thinking is actually a thing. And most important of all, man-made global warming isn't real. It's probably a Chinese hoax. Ladies and gentlemen, we are drowning in a notion of supernatural assertions, paranormal beliefs, and fake news. So let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to basic epistemology and ask ourselves a very simple question. Where do we get our knowledge from? How do we know what we know? Do we get our knowledge from traditions? If my great-great-great-grandmother believed the story, should I believe it too? And should I pass it to my children? Think about that. Should we indoctrinate our children into our own beliefs and religions, or we should teach them to think for themselves? Teach them critical thinking, why and how science works. This can be a new tradition, a tradition of thinking, of teaching our children to think in a critical, normal way so they can be equipped for the future. They don't teach this in schools. That's why you have highly educated people that believe crazy stuff. Do we get our knowledge from authority? If a politician tells us that global warming isn't happening, should we believe him? Should we vote for him? Should we ignore the whole scientific community? And if the same politician tells us that romantic nationalism is our only solution, when all of our problems and challenges are global. Global warming, global cyber terrorism, potential global AI arms race, potential bioengineering arms race, potential nuclear fallout. If all of our challenges are global, how can nationalism solve it? Think about that. Do we get our knowledge from ancient wisdom and scriptures and revelations? Those ancient people, they were so wise. They knew so much. Imagine yourself traveling back in time, 1,000 years here in Europe, and meeting the world, the people there. What kind of wisdom can you take from them? Maybe how to burn a witch properly. Maybe how to stone a homosexual properly. Maybe how to own a slave properly. Maybe how diseases are caused by curses and black cats. Ladies and gentlemen, wisdom and morality evolve side by side with our rationality and our scientific discoveries. Because our scientific discoveries tells us who we really are and where we come from and where we might be headed. Like the theory of evolution by natural selection that tells us that we all share a last universal common ancestor, that all of life is connected. We share parts of our DNA with every living organism on this planet, including trees. How inspiring and uniting is that? Our scientific discoveries unites us furthermore by telling us what are our real common enemies. We have 3 deadly common enemies that we share with all of humanity. Entropy, that is stated in the second law of thermodynamics, or chaos and disorder, which we fight by trying to find ever more efficient ways of capturing energy and using it. Our second deadliest of enemies is evolution, in the sense of evolution of pestilence and deadly bacteria and viruses, which we fight by our knowledge of chemistry and biology and medicine and vaccines and the germ theory of disease, which saved billions of lives, literally. And our most deadly of all enemies is ourselves. It's our own ignorance that keeps us from acquiring new knowledge which could help us overcome our challenges. This is according to cognitive psychologist Steven Pinker. Ladies and gentlemen, where do we get our knowledge from? Do we get it from the internet? Do we get it from people like David Avocado Wolf, who has more than 12,500,000 followers, an anti-vaxxer, and an alternative medicine promoter, which kills tens of thousands of people worldwide every year? Ladies and gentlemen, David Avocado Wolf has almost the same number of followers as Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Hawking, and Bill Nye combined. And these are the top 3 most influential scientists in the world. Think about that. How come a species whose whole existence depends on science and technology, who is driven by science and technology, can be so indifferent to it, can act so carelessly, would not put extra effort to endorse it and to learn it? Ladies and gentlemen, we are responsible for producing the next political, religious, or pseudoscientific charlatan. We are responsible for our beliefs. And there is nothing such as personal, private beliefs. You will be reflecting it in your votes, in the way you act in society, in the way you educate your children, in the way you judge other people, in the posts you share or don't share on your social media. And the stakes are extremely high, because the future of humanity is at stake. The future of our species is at stake. The future of life as we know it is at stake. The future of our politics, of our human rights and animal rights, of our ethics and morality, of our health and well-being, the future of our science and technologies are at stake. And it all depends on what you believe in. So never forget that the human of the future lives or dies inside of our minds. Thank you.